What's good, y'all? I just want to welcome you guys to another episode. On this episode, I'm going to be speaking about some testimonies and how I got baptized. So let's first start with when I was younger. I grew up in the church. I went to Assemblies of the Firstborn in Brooklyn, New York with my mom's. Church was always something that we attended. She grew up in church, so she passed that down to her kids. I remember being in church, young boy, Sunday school, all the kids in the basement in class and everything, learning little by little about Jesus Christ, about the Bible, the stories in the Bible. One of the biggest stories we learned was Noah's Ark. We learned about Adam and Eve. We learned about Jesus and the cross. We learned about the things he did. And it was great. From then on, we start to grow up and life starts to take a toll in our life. We start building our characters growing up. I remember being in church and sitting in the rostrum or sitting in the benches and listening to the preaching. And at that time, it probably wasn't time for me to hear the word because I used to always fall asleep, like unless that was the enemy, like closing my ears off because he didn't want me to learn it or whatever the case may be. I just remember like those things. And I think my first run-in with Jesus saving me was when I was 9 years old. I was hit by a car. And I just remember the day before it happened, my grandfather that passed away, he passed away, say like April, and I broke my leg in June. He was standing in the spot where it happened, and I was 9 years old. So in the dream, I was like, yo, grandpa, what you doing over here? And he didn't really say nothing to me. But sure and behold, the next day, boom, when I got hit, I think like God placed him there to like save me. So, ever since then, I always felt like there has been a calling on my life. I haven't been ignoring it. I just haven't grown to love the word like that. And, high school hits, go through high school, now college. Of course, I have my Bible with me. God is with me. And I reluctantly did not open the Bible. You live in your college life and enjoying life and everything like that. I feel like the test of time turned, or it started to be birth in me. I used to work with this mechanic, and when I was younger, I didn't really want to hear nothing about the word. But when I started working with him, he was always going off about Jesus Christ, about Revelation, about the rapture, and how, when Jesus returned, you're gonna take on a new body because the body that we have, we can't take that with us. And I used to ignore him and be like, man, stop talking to me about this. I'm not trying to hear it. But then, one day, sure and behold, I was like, what, let me listen to what he has to say. And I never fell asleep. I listened. And I'm like, yo, this is tough. Like how he was explaining it to me. So if anything, if he has one talent, if that mechanic had one talent and he made it into two, was opening my ears to the word. So I thank Jesus Christ for allowing him into my life. And I thank Jesus that he allowed my ears to open and he kept me in his arms, because anything could have happened from then on. Now I'm living on my own. I'm going through my trials and tribulation. And sure and behold, when things got tough, I turned to Christ. Like I started asking him, like, why am I going through what I'm going through? And I just decided to open my Bible to like start reading, to start getting an understanding. So I started with the four gospels: Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. When I would go to work, I'll open my Bible. Open my Bible in my phone, yes. And I will read my Bible in my phone to see what to eat up the word spiritually. I remember there were times I'll be reading and I'll call my mother like, man, these stories is nice. It's like a soap opera to me. And I just couldn't stop reading. Couldn't stop. I just wanted to read. And she'll be in my ears like, yes, son, like that's how it is. Like keep going, keep getting into it. And then from there, I started reading Genesis. I read Revelations, and I just started reading different things in the word to give me a foundation. And then I started praying more, and I started like watching and listening to a preacher. He passed away. His name was Miles Monroe. I got a story to tell about that. It's crazy. But sure and behold, I think what Jesus was doing was I was living by myself. So I think the fact that I was living alone and working, and I started to get focused on Christ. I did not yet give my life to the Lord, but I started getting focused on Christ. One thing about my mother, she never forced or pushed God on me. It was always something that she allowed me to choose when I was ready. And I think that's a beautiful thing as a parent, to not force things like that down your kid's throat, but to allow them to walk in the light. Like, you can guide them into the light. You can encourage them to read for their own self. Because at the end of the day, as parents, we can't stand in judgment for our children. We could pray for them and try to guide them into the light. So when they themselves indulge in the word and eat up the spirit, they themselves give their life to Jesus Christ. And from then on, you already know they're in the arms of the Father, and the Father would do great things. So back to the story now. While I was living upstate in Troy, New York, I remember it was just this one day. I think I just hit my end, and I remember I was just going through, like, I even wanted to take my own life. And in the room, I turned off everything, and I told Jesus, I said, "Yo, if I see even a inch of light in this room, I'm gonna give my heart to you." And sure and behold, I started looking around the room. I'm talking about everything was turned off. Everything was turned off. I started looking around the room, and I found that inch of light. And from then on, I've been going back and forth. It's a struggle of serving Christ. And I'll never forget it. November 9th, 2014, I consider that the day I finally gave my life to Jesus Christ. And it's so crazy. A week before I got baptized, they canceled the baptism because they said the water was cold, the water wasn't warming up. And in that week, I was like, man, I'm doing all of this, and then this happened. I could have gave up. But I spent that week listening to Miles Monroe, like just watching different YouTube videos. I had him saved on my phone where I used to drive, and I listened to him in the car. And for the whole week, I was just listening to him, and I just stayed focused into the word. And sure and behold, November 9th, the day that he passed, that's the day that I got baptized. And I heard he passed after, like, I came up out the water, and it was like, wow. So to me, it just resonated as, like, as one die, another one is born. So it's like my spirit was born on that day while this man died in Christ. And it's a beautiful and sentimental thing to me. It could not really mean much, but I'm happy that happened, and I thank God for that moment. And from then on, I've been indulging in Christ's word. Don't get me wrong, I fell a whole bit, but it's a beautiful thing to know that Christ is with us always. And he kept me in his arms till this day, because even more now I yearn for him. Even more now I want to seek him. Even more now I want to indulge in the Bible and just read and just feed up my body spiritually, and let the spirit, like, master the flesh, if it's saved. But I just thank God for everything that I've been doing and the road that I've been walking. And I pray that he allows his divine steps to take forward in my life, and the will that he has for me through obedience, guidance, full fellowship, and discernment. So I look to this, and that is my story. So I just thank God for all that he do for me and everything that comes after this. So this is the second episode, and I hope you guys take heed into this, watch it, indulge in it. You already know, if you like this video, turn on your notification, like and subscribe, so you can hear more from me. And like I said, with this channel, I'll be spreading even more the word, and I'll be introducing and involving other pairs that are also walking with Christ, who believe in Christ. And even if you don't believe in Christ and you would like to be on the channel, you come on the channel, we can have a good conversation and go from there. All right? This is Omar signing out. And make sure you hear my thinking heart. And remember, Let's continue to shine God's light and His love, one conversation, one voice, one heart at a time. Have a good day.